God's sake.
So this is something that's come up on a couple of podcasts recently, and I wanted to get your guys' take on it. So people often talk about the different renditions of Ronnie Coleman.
Yeah, buddy.
I want to know, which one do you think? So people say like 98 versus 03.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do you think would do better in a bodybuilding competition? Like if 98, if in the 2021 Arnold you had 98 Ronnie and 2003 Ronnie, which are kind of considered two of the best. You know, you either have like the early Ronnie or the 03 Ronnie, basically. Who do you think would place better in at the Olympia, based on the judging?
I'd say 98. Only because Ronnie in 98 was big. You know, 2003 he might have been a bit bigger, but he wasn't as sharp.
He was 40 pounds bigger.
Yeah, the 98 Ronnie, though, if you look at him, even though he was lighter, the shreddedness and his roundness and his smaller waist caused the illusion. He didn't look 40 pounds lighter than the 2003 version. And yes, the 2003 version is big and a little bit... Yeah, the 2003 version is a little bit smoother and bigger. So him near Rami and things like that, you could almost be going, okay, they're both big, conditioning's the same a bit, you know, maybe he's a little bit here and there. Whereas if he comes in that 98 condition next to Rami, it's fucking lights out. He's got the size plus the conditioning. It'd be like a bigger version of fucking Sean Clarita standing beside fucking Rami. Your eyes are going to be drawn to Ronnie just due to that fucking condition and the size. So I think the 98 version, it's like when you look at Flex Wheeler, he said his best shape was probably when he won the Arnold at 218. You know, he had the Christmas tree, his muscles were so full, his joints were small. And then later on he played the size game with Ronnie coming in 230, 240. Yes, he still looked great, but he looked more impressive at that lighter body weight just due to that illusion. So I think Ronnie in the 98 version, no one would touch him like that because he's just got everything. Whereas if he comes in 2003, there could be argument. Well, conditioning, they're pretty close. If Ronnie comes in that condition, no one's going to come near him with the size he had with it. So,
what do you think, Scott?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I can see what you're saying. I'm going to pull that picture back up. He's got that crazy condition in 98, but I'm looking at like his back and how much more density it has in 2003.
Well, I think that back shot too, though. He hasn't got it fully out, like he's pushing back. Whereas 2003, I think he's got it pulled around and flared it.
It's hit a little bit better.
I think 98 is still squeezing it back.
It's
a bit.
A posing issue. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I think you know when you do your back shot, you sort of squeeze it back and then pull it. Yeah. It looks like he's still pushing it back a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that no matter, I'll say this. I always go with condition then. You know what I mean? Like if you have guys that are going to be a similar size, then I would err toward condition. I feel like though, do you think any Ronnie would lose though? Like any good Ronnie, you know what I mean, would lose?
No. I don't think. Like I said, even the 2003, it could be a bit closer, but I still think he would win.
I think he would kill. I think 03 Ronnie would absolutely kill Rami. 03 Ronnie was, I don't think he was in worse condition then. He was like peeled out of his mind in 03. He had a little bit of a gut, but like even if you look at the 03 if you look at the 03 show on video, like Ronnie wins every pose by a mile. He even wins the ab and thigh. Because if you look at Ronnie 03 compared to Ronnie 03 had a much smaller waist than Rami does. Like from the front, like much more narrow. And Ronnie was, I think Ronnie was significantly harder than Rami in 03.
I think it's like anything though, because when we saw Ronnie in 98 coming in that shredded, 2003 is still hard and shredded, but yet it's like anyone. If you set that standard, and this is the most shredded you've ever been, you can do a show a year later and still be shredded. But if you're a fraction off, he's not as hard as he was last time. Compared to everybody else, he's still shredded compared to.
Even if you're 40 pounds of muscle bigger.
Yeah, they still put it on you like, but his conditioning was a bit back.
Yeah, he was bigger, but he didn't get in shape this year.
Yeah, because they're going to always judge you from the best they've ever seen you. You could be the best on stage that day still, oh, but it was better before. It's like, oh, fucking hell. It's like, as I said, it's like you're picking hairs. It's only fine, small little things, but they're always going to do that. And then some people too, there were some competitors who could be that little bit off and still win, but then you get somebody who could be a little bit off and place 5th or 6th and not even make the top 10. You're like, well, how does that happen? You know, it's like you see some guys who will just be a little bit off but still look great and get marked down for it, and somebody else could come in a little bit off. And, you know, Flex was like that. Flex could come in a little bit off because of his shape and symmetry.
Yeah.
Oh, but, you know, next week he'll be better. But he's saying fucking next week. This is today. How's he look today? There was a few competitors that could get away with it. Yeah, but anyone else, if they did it, 8th place, you're like, what happened? I mean,
it's those guys with a really good shape. Those guys with the really awesome shape that can do it. Like if Brandon comes like in Lee. A little bit off, or like a guy like Brandon, if he comes in a little bit off, you're like, I'd like to see him harder, but he could still win this show, you know?
Yeah. Well, what's his name? Sure. I always found what's his name was like that. Cedric and
Cedric, yeah, for sure.
And Sean who won when he won the thing.
Oh, Roden. Yeah. Two real big shape guys.
Like, when they're on, they're on. But if they miss it by a little bit, it seems for some reason to be a lot. You know, they still look great symmetry wise and shit, but yet that little bit of a slip looks a lot on them for some reason. Whereas, like I said, some can get away with it, some don't.
I couldn't imagine a guy like Hadi if Hadi didn't bring it. You know what I mean? Like his conditioning. Mm-hmm. If he didn't have that, I think he would lose it. You know what I mean?
I know. Oh yeah, he'd be moved right down. Well, sadly we're sort of seeing that with Bonac because Bonac still looked good, but you know he wasn't as best we've seen him, and he got pushed down. Because I wouldn't say some of the other guys were better. Like Nick was way better and stuff like that, and you know then they go on with things like, see, there's a good example. People say Labrada shouldn't have beat Nick because Nick's conditioning was better. So whether they just judge Labrada on his shape more than Nick, but you know they're two different body types. And this is where the sport's so subjective. It's hard to pick one over the other. You know, Nick still looked fantastic. Yes, Labrada has nice shape as well, but Nick's conditioning was better. So I probably would have given it to Nick over Labrada. I would have changed those placings around just for that fact. But you know, you got to give it to people who, when you see the guys that have busted their ass dieting. I'm not saying Labrada didn't diet hard. I'm sure he did, but if you miss your peak and someone's that little bit more conditioned and still has the size, you should go for that because, as I said, you got to have consistency. You got to have condition. You can't have condition guy, next guy a little bit smooth, and the guy next to who places again is conditioned. You know, you can't keep going back and forth. It's like when you'd see some guy win a show who's got beautiful shape and symmetrical. The guy that gets seconds, big and blocky. The guy that gets thirds, beautiful and symmetrical. You're like, well, shouldn't it be the guy that won symmetrical or the guy that got third who has similar shape second, and then the blocky guy third? You're going from, I hate to say the apples and orange bullshit that people say, you're going from an apple to an orange back to an apple. So it's like, wouldn't you be, you know,
that's a Sean Ray. That's a Sean Ray thing. Apples and oranges. He says that all the time.
Yeah,
everyone was saying it after the last Olympia, weren't they? Apples and oranges. Why can't we pick it up with fruit? Why can't we say bananas and pineapples? If I can just say something different. Because really, if you're colourblind, an apple and an orange might almost look the same, apart from the skin texture. One's smooth, one's a little bit lumpy. But if you go banana and pineapple, you can see the fucking difference. Okay, so they're both, apple and orange are both round. If you're blind, you might be like, oh, this is just the roughest skin. It could be a rough apple. And this is an apple. But if you go, ooh, that's a banana. Ooh, that's a prickly pineapple. So we're going to get rid of apples and oranges and go to bananas and pineapples. How's that?
As long as you don't use grapefruits, because that fruit has been destroyed for bodybuilding.
Yes.
Well, you know, grapefruit's not bad with a bit of cream on top.
With what?
Bob loves cream. Bob brings that shit up any chance he gets.
Does he?
Oh, he thinks that.
Bob Chick,
that's the funniest joke ever, doesn't he?
He brought it up at the press conference.
You're kidding me.
Out a new protein. Yeah, you didn't see that? Yeah,
no, I didn't.
You know, I was going to bring. Now you've ruined the surprise. Yeah. I was going to bring out a new protein powder, grapefruit with cream infused flavor. You know, like the orange popsicle, dreamsicle, wasn't it? Orange
those are
dreamsicle
good.
flavor.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's similar to that, but it's grapefruit flavor with infused cream taste. Yeah, some like it, some don't. It has like a bit of it's like kettle corn, bit sweet, bit salty, you know. Yeah, opened the tub. It smells a bit like chlorine, but you know, who knows? Bit of ammonia smell.
Oh man, I don't think I'd
You've
buy
ruined
that.
it now. Jeff, it's all about how you look, mate. You got to eat and drink
Yeah.
for nutrition, not taste. Okay.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I think it's interesting that people think the 98 Ronnie would beat the 03 Ronnie. I just don't see it. I think the 03 Ronnie, like that, people laughed through the entire prejudging because that Ronnie was so huge and dominant. Well, if you had a lat spread, front lat spread, back lat spread, you could hear a bunch of people in the audience laughing out loud. I mean, he had Dennis James on one side and Jay on the other side, and they both look like small and fat next to him. But
well, soon
he was
the way we got what's his name, Zuckerberg, now talking about all this new stuff they're going to have with these, like, what was he talking about, where they're just going to have images and you can have all this, like, you know, like hologram type shit, you know, where it look like somebody's really there but they won't be there, or different backgrounds. Did you see all that? This latest stuff he's meant to be coming out with, and this whole new technology where you could just have someone stand there and they're not there, and you could have them say and do anything. Joe Biden, I don't think he's really there. It's like fucking. So imagine if they can do this in a couple of years' time, you'll be able to get all the digital video and that off Ronnie Coleman 98 and 2003 and project them there and have them compete side by side.
That'd be awesome. That would remember the guy with one leg, Lee? The competitor with one leg we talked about was a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
It was probably a year ago. That would have been good for him. You could make like a digital leg on stage so he could compete fairly.
Yeah.
Did he have one leg, or was one leg like really small? I don't even remember. I think he literally had one leg. Oh, one leg was prosthetic.
Yeah, he'd probably do good, but yeah. But even, like I said, even with technology in years to come, you know, the moving, like I've seen like different mechanical hands now. I was watching a show where they can get these mechanical hands where it almost looks like the Terminator hand. With the way 3D printers are going now, who knows that you might be able to get a prosthetic leg where they can 3D print, like they could take like your good leg that's muscular, 3D print that, and maybe make like a casing or an outer shell. Because I've seen those muscle suits they make in movies and shit that move and look like real things. You might be able to get some sort of prosthetic done to the exact same size of your leg that goes over your, you know, like the legs they have now. It might be able to clip over it so it looks naturally like you got two legs there, muscular. One leg could always be in contest shape anyway.
Yeah, it has to be, I guess. In that
gives
case.
me an idea with the 3D print. I wonder if they can do that for your cock. I want a few more inches. Just clip it on.
Yeah.
I heard that
little
penis enlargement surgery is, the FDA said don't do it. They said that it is, their official stance is that more people end up being disappointed. I forget what the number was. It was a statistic though, like 70% of the people, or 85. It was ridiculous.
Well, don't they just cut like up the top or something? So really it just sort of hangs lower or something. I saw one show once they were talking about it, and some of them said they were happy with it. They only gained like an inch maybe or something. But then I figured, mate, I saw your wife. Maybe if you got a sexier girl, you get an inch naturally because you'd be more fucking excited. You know, just seeing your wife, you only get half a hard on, so you don't give it a full fucking whatever you got there. Yeah, but I saw one of them. It's just like where the base connects to you, they somehow cut tendons in there, so it gives it a bit more. But then I saw one where like your penis attaches to your groin here, they slice it there, and they slide like this sheath thing down there, which somehow can give it an inch or two and more thickness. It's like almost like a hard implant or jelly type they put in it. But I'll be thinking, there's so many tendons and nerves there. Say they fuck it up and then you never get an erection again for the rest of your life.
Yes.
Say, my cock's bigger, but I can't use it. It's good for peeing out of. It's good for sending dick pics while it's hanging.
I was looking for the statistic. I don't see it, but it was higher. I said like 70 or something, but it was higher. Like 90% of people who got it were not happy with it. The only statistic I did come up with was about 85% of women in an internet survey of 52,000 heterosexual people said that they were, in fact, satisfied with their partner's penis.
Oh.
Were or weren't?
Were.
Oh, well.
So 15% were not.
They all say that till you break up with them.
Yeah.
You got a small dick, but while you're with them, oh my God, it's perfect. I've got the lock and you've got the key. You fit me perfectly. Oh, we're so good together. It was made for me. Oh my God, you fit me so good.
It's
6 months later.
You suck. You suck. You got a small dick. I know, maybe I didn't have a small dick. Maybe you just had a big fucking hole. You ever think of that? But that brings me to another question, Scott. Why are you Googling this and looking up penis enlargements and the satisfactory rate?
Well, I figured I'd try to add to the show, Plus doing a little side research for myself, just figure it out,
Yeah, see how mangled you get with this?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
People, I imagine people are unhappy because they have a mangled dick afterwards.
Yeah, it was on a radio show recently. They said that,
imagine that. Yeah, imagine if it came out all crooked and fucking lumps and shit in it.
Then you're screwed. It's done. Then nobody's gonna watch you.
Bent like that. You could maybe bang around corners or something.
Bang around corners. Yeah.
Like that gun. You see that gun that can shoot around a corner, like the barrel goes around like that.
I haven't seen that. That's interesting. That's Scott's neck of the woods.
Yes.
No.
That and
penis enlargements. Scott?
I will.
Yeah, there you go. What more could you want? Guns,
he's all distracted now by that.
Guns, ammo, and penis enlargements. That's what we're all about.
Yeah. That can be your new magazine. Guns, ammo, and cock. The Means magazine. Fully loaded.
Fully loaded.
Oh, I'm giving out ideas here. This could be a
multi-million-dollar
magazine.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll write that down next to my training notes.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, see, you're welcome.
All right, boys, what do you think?
I'll go to the gun range to go to gun information and photos. You can get the other ones, Scott. You can go to wherever you got to go to get the other pictures for the magazine.
Oh man, yeah, I like it. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, show all your friends, all that good stuff. And you guys have any closing words?
Yeah, you can get penis enlargements for 15% off if you use the code THINK.
Use the code
just like that,
Scott.
Yeah.
Scott 15.
You blew our cover, Scott.
Yeah, that was it's good to see you again. Good to be back and chatting.
Definitely. Well, we'll do some more for sure.
If people complain, look, I tried to keep it on bodybuilding topics, but Scott and Geoff just like to go on tangents. So
that's true. That's true.
I try my best.
You can't hold me back, guys. You can't stop me.
Yeah. So we've heard.
All right, guys. See you later, everyone.